We're reading from a book, The Purpose of Life, a brief scientific and magical approach for the zodiacal age of Aquarius. And this is Chapter 7, The Illusion of Separation. All exists within divinity. The name doesn't matter. There are names and labels given to those who believe this concept based on the name for God, but they do not matter. On one level, everything, you, me, the chair we may be sitting on, or the television, is one energetic soup of oneness. In astrology, this concept is represented by the 12th sign of the zodiac, Pisces. Thomas Campbell refers to this concept as absolute unbounded oneness. There are three basic aspects to the cosmic soup of energy. There is the absolute unbounded oneness, then there is the multiplicity that is an infinite. Thomas Campbell calls this the absolute unbounded multiplicity, or for short, and the perceiver, which is basically you and me. The unchanging one is the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. This part doesn't consciously participate in the physical realm. It is more like a living consciousness that composes all the data of reality and organizes the particles that exist. It is essentially the consciousness out of which everything exists. In the Jewish Kabbalah, this portioning is called Tzimtzum, where divinity extended itself out and then retracted its consciousness so that the perceiver could have space for privacy. That's why in the Jewish tradition they say you can only see the backside of God instead of direct interaction. The Egyptians called the unchanging one the womb of Neith. This is the omnipotent, omniscience, and the perfect aspect. In most non-monotheistic religions, this aspect is described as feminine and associated with the ocean, but I prefer to see it as more of a cosmic soup. From this womb of potential came that which could perceive itself, but created chaos in the process. In the Egyptian mythos, this perceiver was referred to as Adam or Ra, who created a name for the parts of his body which became the pantheon of gods, what we now know as the planets. In the myths of the Dogon in Africa, this was the white fox who broke free of Amma's womb to create the earth. Scranton, 2020. The character of Adam in the Torah and Bible plays a very similar role, although the blame for creating disorder in Eden is placed on Eve, similar to the many myths involving the zodiac sign of Virgo. In the Egyptian mythos, it was from the pantheon of gods that the millions came. That pantheon, at the start, were 7 in number, and corresponded to the 7 wanderers, the original definition of planets, of the sky that can be seen with the naked eye: the sun, the moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. As the 7 planets were the parts of Ra or Adam, in similar fashion, since we are made in the same image, we have 7 energetic centers called chakras in the Hindu system, or Sephiroth, that can be translated as sapphire in the Jewish tradition of Kabbalah. This suggests that divinity is both latent and active. We can see a hint of this idea in science. In the double-slit experiment, light particles act similar to waves in the ocean, but when observed, they become individual particles. This is why God can exist in 2 states at once. Not only does divinity compose everything that exists and is aware of it, but another aspect of it acts, of which we are a part, as an organizing principle that creates what we perceive. If we are composed of the same cosmic soup of absolute unbounded oneness, and we are images in the same image as the absolute unbounded multiplicity, we don't have to go anywhere outside of ourselves to understand those aspects of divinity, but turn within to know ourselves. This decision to turn within to know thyself, as the Hermetic axiom of the Emerald Tablet suggests, is the defining trait of those rare individuals known as mystics. We are and never have been separate from divinity. A partition, a veil, was created to allow our consciousness, the aspect of us that we can perceive, to develop independently. We perceive that separation becomes, we expect communication from divinity to come in the same format of communication that mankind has with one another. Yet that communication and interaction is always there whether we choose to be conscious of it or not. We have only been allowed the illusion of thinking that we are alone. In the Hindu tradition, the earth experience is called Maya, and many demonize the experience as they do the first perceiver of reality, or Eve, but the word actually means mercy. We don't have to go anywhere to experience divinity. We can turn within, and by getting to know ourselves directly, we can come to know divinity more intimately. This takes a keen eye of inner observation, associated with the brow or third eye chakra, that no outside source, such as a personality test or therapist, can give you. We can find some of that divinity in others. Through relationship, we can learn to experience ourselves more fully. However, relationships are merely a method of testing ourselves in earthly situations, and it is not through others, soulmate or not, that we explore divinity. We will always be disappointed using that route, as none are perfect. Instead, we can look to relationships with others as interacting with a different aspect of the divine, similar to how astrologers look at how the planets interact to give rise to a certain vibration of energy. When we interact with others in relationship, we are turning into this unique energetic template. To tune in and come to know the peace of the divine, we must work with the subconscious, the process of which I call the path of the seeker, and others may validate those experiences, but they must not be the only source of information, as explained in the introduction. To tap into the aspect of us that is one with the absolute unbounded oneness, we must work with our subconscious inner goddess, which I call everyday magic. And that was Chapter 7, The Illusion of Separation. I hope you enjoyed.